Hello friends, this is Sanjay from Lamin.com. In today's video, I will be addressing a question that keeps coming up very frequently from our users and from aspirants who are taking the upcoming CLAT PG examination in 2022. And the question is, which are the cases which are going to be important for the upcoming exam? Now this is not a very straightforward question where I can just give you a list of cases and say that these are the specific cases that you need to read and remember to prepare for the exam. Now this question is quite complicated, and if you stay with me till the end of this video, I will give you a good overview of what to expect in the upcoming exam and what kind of cases that you should focus on, and what should be your overall preparation strategy for the CLAT PG 2022. So let's get started. The registrations for CLAT PG for 2022 commence from the 1st of January, and looking at the information published on the official CLAT Consortium website, we see that there are no surprises this time around. Looking at the question paper format, the exam will be for a maximum of 120 marks. The duration will be 2 hours or 120 minutes. There will be 120 questions of 1 mark each. And the regular normal negative marking of 0.25 marks being deducted for every wrong answer has been retained, which also means that there will not be any deduction of marks for any unanswered questions or questions that you decide to skip. In terms of the syllabus or the subjects within which the questions will be framed, that is the same as the previous 2 years, and these are essentially your standard LLB subjects. Now, when the original notifications came out for 2020 and 2021, the consortium has announced that the CLAT PG question paper would consist of 2 parts. Part 1 would be the objective part and part 2 would be the subjective part. Now, the objective part would essentially consist of comprehension based questions, and the subjective part was where students would be required to write 2 essays for a total of 50 marks. And there was also a sectional cutoff that was introduced for the objective part, where they said that only students who score at least 40% in the objective part would have their essays evaluated. And there was quite a bit of a confusion around and ambiguity around how the All India ranking process would work. But fortunately, just a couple of months before the exam was conducted, the consortium decided to change the overall pattern of the exam. And this happened both in 2020 and 2021. While the original notification said objective plus subjective, the final pattern was just an objective part. So this information is important because when you look at the syllabus and guide part of the notification, we see that there is a mention of the first section will include 120 objective type questions. So this is something that you can ignore because in this year there will be just one section, which is the objective section. The reason why they have retained this first section would include that particular phrase is because they have just copy pasted the previous year's notification and they have forgotten to delete this part. When the original notification came out in 2020 and 2021, the information said the first section would include this, and there was also one additional bit of information here which spoke about what the subjective section would look like. But if you see any references to first section and second section, ignore that because this year around there is just one section in the CLAT PG question paper, which is the objective section. Now coming to the objective section, the introduction and overview again is essentially repeating the same information that we have already seen in the question paper format. They're talking about 120 objective type questions of 1 mark each, and the exam will be for 120 minutes, and there will be a negative marking of 0.25 for every wrong answer, and the subjects, as I mentioned, are essentially your standard LLB subjects. Now here they have clearly mentioned that the CLAT PG 2022 will feature an emphasis on the comprehension abilities of the students. That is, the question paper will be the comprehension type question paper that we have seen in 2020 and 2021. And moving on to the objective section, they have mentioned that you will be provided extracts from primary legal materials such as important court decisions. So this such as is something that you need to focus on. It means that all the passages will not be based on court decisions. There will be some passages like we have seen in 2020 and 2021. There will be some passages which will be based on will be from other sources such as articles or journal extracts or just generic passages. But what we have seen in the previous two question papers is that most of the passages will be based on court decisions. And it also goes to say that each passage will be followed by a series of questions. Now they have not mentioned how many questions will be associated with each passage. For example, in 2020, there were 12 passages and each passage was followed by 10 questions, and that's how they arrived to 120 questions. Whereas in 2021, there were 20 passages and each passage had just 6 questions associated with it, and still the number came to 120. Now, this doesn't matter whether there are 12 passages or 20 passages, and whether there are 10 questions associated with it or 6 questions associated with each passage, doesn't matter, because in 2020, the passages were longer. The average length of the passage was around 408 words, and which is also the reason why there were no more number of questions associated with each passage. Whereas in 2021, the passages were much shorter. The average length was around 250 words, and there were fewer number of questions associated with each passage. So it doesn't matter whether there are 12 passages or 20 passages. If the passages are longer, there will be more number of questions under each passage. If the passages are shorter, there will be fewer questions. But the overall approach will be exactly the same in both these cases. And the more important aspect, or the most important aspect that you need to focus on is what is the proportion of the direct questions and the general questions that you can expect in the upcoming examination. And as we have seen in 2020 and 2021, roughly 50% of the questions will be direct, where the answers will be based on the information provided explicitly within the passage, and around 50% of the questions would be external or general questions, where the information is not available within the passage. Moving on, if you look at the preparation part for CLAT PG 2022, they're saying that you should read and refresh your knowledge of important judgments and try to discern various issues discussed in such judgments. And they're also asking you to refresh your knowledge of important constitutional and legislative provisions, and particularly those that may have been discussed in recent judgments. Now, going back to the previous section, that is the objective section, if we look at this part, that is the ability to read and comprehend issues discussed in the passage, as well as any arguments and viewpoints discussed or set out in the passage, this is essentially referring to the direct questions. And the next bullet point says awareness of the issues discussed in the passage. So here they are saying that awareness of the issues discussed in the passage. So which means that the information required to answer the question will not be explicitly given in the passage. So they are expecting you to be aware of the legal happenings in India in the recent past. Therefore, this is referring to the generic questions. And there will be some summarization of the passage which will be required. So this is again referring to the direct questions and your ability to apply your knowledge in the various fields of law. So this is pretty ambiguous. It can either refer to direct questions or generic questions. So to summarize what I've been trying to say, there will be two main types of questions that you will see in the upcoming examination. There will be direct questions where the answers will be available within the passage, and this would be around 50% of the questions. And there will also be generic questions, which would be around say 48 or 49% of the questions, and these are questions where the answers will not be directly available within the passages. There will be very few case-based questions where you can answer these questions authoritatively only if you have read the original case material, but you don't have to worry much about this. There will be very few questions on this. So your primary focus should be on the direct questions where the answers are within the passage, and these general questions or generic questions will be hit and miss, because if you are fortunate enough to have read that particular case and that particular part of the case where the question is being asked from, then you will be able to answer it authoritatively. Otherwise, we will have to use a guesswork strategy here, as I will discuss further ahead. But looking at the information that is provided in the official notification, again here, no surprises. If you look at the 2020 and the 2021 papers, these will give you a good indication of what to expect in the upcoming CLAT PG 2022. This is also probably a good time for me to address one of the other most frequently asked question that keeps coming up quite a few times from our users, and I've also seen this question being asked on various forums. That is, how much should I score in the CLAT PG examination to get a seat in a good NLU? Now to answer this question, let's take a look at what happened in 2021 and 2020. If you look at some of the top NLUs and we focus on the last general merit candidate who got a seat in these NLUs. I'm not talking about any sort of a reservation or domicile candidates. I'm talking about the last general merit candidate in the All India category who got a seat in the top NLUs. Now, if you look at NLSIU, the last rank in 2021 was 153, where the person scored 69.75 marks, which translates to 58.13%. And in Nalsar, the last general merit candidate got 57.5%. And if you look at all the top NLUs, the percentages were significantly less than 60%. And if we look at what happened in 2020 for the same institutions, we see that the actual percentage that was scored by the successful last general merit candidate was much less than 50% as well. Now, this can be explained by the fact that the new pattern was introduced in 2020, and the pattern was a surprise to all the students, and the expectation was that since the consortium said this is going to be a comprehension based exam, say typically in a comprehension based exam, the answers for the questions will be available within the passage. But as I have been repeating, CLAT PG is not a 100% comprehension based exam. Just around 50% of the questions can be answered with the information available within the passage, whereas around 50% of the questions are external questions or general questions where the questions are based on the passage or they are related to the passage, but the answer is not available within the specific extract. And by 2021, now students had a better understanding of what to expect, and there was more amount of information available in the market. There were more number of mock tests that are available. Therefore, you can see that the marks that are scored by the students in 2021 has actually gone up. And in terms of the actual difficulty of the question paper, I would say the question paper was probably of equal difficulty both in 2020 and 2021. It's just that the level of preparation in 2021 had gone up. So this year around, I see that the actual percentage of the successful candidates will probably go up a little bit more, because now people or students have both the 2020 paper and the 2021 paper to use as a guide to help them with their preparation. And obviously the quality of the mock tests that are available in the market, including ours, is also geared towards what we have seen in the previous two question papers. Therefore, this year I expect that the percentages of the last successful general merit candidates might go up a little bit. They might go somewhere up to 65%. But anything beyond that would be quite difficult, because looking at the current pattern of the CLAT PG question paper, unless and until the consortium decides to increase the number of the proportion of direct questions and decrease the proportion of indirect or external questions, we'll see that we have probably reached the zenith or the maximum in terms of the marks that will be scored in the current format. There will be an increase, but it should not go beyond 65%. Therefore, if you are using any good mock test series in your preparation for the upcoming examination, if you are scoring anywhere in the 60 to 75% to start with in a good mock test series that is calibrated based on the pattern and the difficulty level that we have seen in the previous two question papers, you should rest assured that your preparation is on track. So 60 to 75% if you are scoring on a consistent basis, then don't panic, don't unnecessarily get worried about your preparation levels. You are doing quite well. Coming back to our original discussion around which cases are going to be important for 2022, let's take a look at what happened in 2020 and 2021 question papers. Looking at the 2020 question paper, we see that the number of passages, as I mentioned, was lesser than what we saw in 2021. There were just 12 passages, and the length of the passages was longer. That is, on an average, there were around 408 words in length. And looking at the source of the passages, we see that just 50% of the passages were based on case extract. The other 50% was either they were based on articles published in various magazines or newspapers, or a couple of them were from a book or a journal. And looking at the cases, only 3 cases were from the year of the exam, that is 2020. one case was from the preceding year. So we can combine them as y and y minus 1. So just around say 4 cases were from y and y minus 1. The other cases or the sources of the other passages can be traced back to various different other years. There was one article from the year of the examination. Otherwise, even the articles that were used as a source for the other passages were from other years. And looking at what happened in 2021, here the main change was the number of passages had been increased. Now we see that there are 20 passages overall in the question paper. But the length of the passages has been decreased from the 400 plus that we saw in 2020. Now the average length of the passage had gone down to around 250 words. And looking at where did these judgments that were used as a source for these passages come from, then just 6 of the passages were based on judgments from the year of the exam, that is 2021. And there were a few more cases which were from the preceding year, that is y minus 1. So around 50% of the passages were based on judgments from y or y minus 1. And the other 50% were from various other years. So the takeaway from these two slides, that is the 2020 question paper and the 2020 question paper, is that not all the passages will be from the year of the examination. Just around 50% of the passages may be based on judgments from the year of the examination, and the other passages will be spread across multiple years. So what cannot be accurately predicted is how many passages will be from the year of the exam or the immediate preceding year. So as we have seen, we can expect that roughly around 50% of the passages will be from y or y minus 1 cases, and the other remaining 50% will be spread across multiple years. And given the fact that in every year there will be anywhere between say 60 to 75 landmark judgments. So if we are looking at y and y minus 1, then we are looking at anywhere between 120 to 150 cases. So it cannot be predicted that from which of these landmark cases the passages will be extracted from. So we do have a fair understanding that these passages will be from these landmark judgments from the years of say the y and the y minus 1 years, but you cannot exactly predict which cases will be the sources. And when you look at the average length of the judgment these days, they can be anywhere from say tens of pages to some judgments which are fairly long, which can go into literally hundreds of pages. But even if we consider that the average length of a judgment would be around say 45 pages, then it cannot be predicted as to which part of the judgment text will be used for the passage, for extracting the passage. It might be the part where the arguments between both the advocates has been documented, or the passage might be based on a reference to some other case which has been used by the judge, or it can be based on the decision in this particular case. So it can be from any of these 45 pages. So to summarize this particular slide, what I'm trying to get at is that it cannot be accurately predicted as to how many passages will be from the year or the immediate preceding year of the examination, and which of these 120 or 150 landmark cases will these passages be extracted from, and which part of the judgment will be used for extracting the passage. So there is a lot of random variables that we'll have to deal with for the upcoming examination. But don't get worried about it. I just wanted to give you a clear picture in terms of why is it that you cannot say answer the question, that is which cases are important for 2022, by just giving you a list of cases and say that these are the cases that you should study. If you have gone through what has happened in 2020 and if you have seen the 2021 question paper, this is what we arrive at, that there is a lot of random variables that we will have to deal with for the upcoming examination, which should definitely not be a cause for worry, because this is the same random variables that all applicants or all candidates are dealing with. So all of us are in the same boat. So moving on to the ideal overall strategy for the upcoming CLAT PG 2022 question paper, I would say maximize your scores in the direct questions, and this is where practice as many comprehension passages as possible. Next, the same kind of practice will help you practice your guesswork strategy when it comes to the general questions. And that's the only way that you can maximize your scores and bag a seat in one of the top NLUs. And it is very important to be practical. As I said, it is practically not possible for any student to read and remember all the cases from y and y minus 1. So do your best, be aware of all the cases, but don't get overly anxious just because you did not read and remember all the details from all the cases. And only 50% of the cases will be from y and y minus 1. The other cases will be from various different years. So there is no practical way that you will be aware of or you will have any knowledge of all the cases or all the passages that will feature in this exam. Therefore, be practical and be calm. That is, just because you become anxious about something, it starts affecting your confidence levels and it starts affecting your preparation. Just because you're anxious, it doesn't mean that you'll be able to do well in the practice mocks or you'll be able to remember a lot more. The anxiety actually starts killing your preparation, because the anxiety means that you're not able to focus fully on what you're doing. You're thinking about something that may happen, that may occur in the future, and that worry about the future will start affecting your preparation today. Therefore, be calm. The other thing is, be regular. I've seen people who buy our mock tests in say November or December, and they do not even log in, even though once in a while we might send them a reminder that we have not seen you log in. They don't log in, right? And they don't practice. And people who have bought the mock tests in January, they will practice for maybe 10 or 15 days in January. Then there is a long gap, and just because the exam happens to be in May or June, they will again start logging in just about a month before the exam and practice then. The reason why we have given so many mock tests and why we have included so many previous question papers and so many say old pattern mock tests is because we want you to get as much practice as possible consistently over the next few months. So January or February is probably the ideal time to start your preparation. But whenever you start your preparation, please be consistent all the way till you finish the exam. Don't give unnecessarily long gaps, because the type of preparation that you have done, the momentum gets lost if you give it too much of a gap. Therefore, be practical, be calm, and be regular with your preparation. Next, moving on to the specific prep strategy for the direct questions, and repeating myself time and again, I would say please practice reading as many comprehension passages as possible, because comprehension passages are not like reading normal novels, articles, or newspapers. So this is not just about reading fast. It's about trying to understand what the passage is trying to convey, trying to extract the information that is required to either answer the question or at least reject the incorrect options, and attempt as many relevant mock tests as possible. And time management is extremely critical, and this is something that you will develop over a period of time when you practice as many mock tests as possible. Because if you give a candidate enough time, say you give a candidate some 4 or 5 hours, then the candidate can do exceptionally well in the actual paper, because the person has enough time to go through the passage in detail, and he's able to think about his passage in detail, each question in detail, and select the answers, right? So therefore, if you give an average student say 4 or 5 hours with the question paper, then the performance will be on a much higher level than what the person can do in the limited time that is available, that is 2 hours. Therefore, your time management is going to be critical, because your objective is to maximize the scores within the 2-hour time limit. Therefore, by practicing as many mock tests as possible, you will get a sense of how much time you are spending on the passage, how much time you are spending on each question, and whether you are unnecessarily spending more time on a question where you should probably just select one of the answers randomly and move on. So that strategy is something that you will develop by yourself as you practice as many mocks as possible. So time management is going to be very critical, because we have seen candidates who score very high in the untimed mock tests, but when we put a timer on the mock test, then their score drops drastically, because they are trying to rush through the passage and move on to the next thing. So their reading speed as such has not caught up with them. And even if they are able to read fast, their comprehension speed has not caught up. Therefore, please get as much practice as possible. Next, moving on to the prep strategy for the general questions, attempt all the old pattern previous question papers on mocks, because I cannot stress more upon what is the uh, importance of all these old pattern mock tests and previous papers, because there are a lot of questions where the answer choices are something that you would have seen in some of the old pattern mocks. Therefore, if you are familiar with them, you'll be able to either select the correct answer immediately or at least eliminate the incorrect answer choices. And you have to be familiar with the important cases from Y and Y1. You might not say read and remember all the cases, but you should at least be familiar with what this case was all about, what was the main aspect that was discussed in that particular case and how it affects the general populace. And plus, as I have been repeating, elimination strategy. This is something that you will get only after you practice as many mocks as possible. Now, what is this elimination strategy that I keep talking about? Let us take this case as a typical example. The question is asking, the Supreme Court decided upon the issue of permanent commission for women in the armed forces in which of the following cases? Now, if I were to just randomly select one of the answer choices, then the probability of my selecting a correct answer is around 25% because 1 out of 4 is a correct answer. But now, having read about the DK Basu case somewhere in my LLB syllabus, I would probably be able to identify that this case is something to do with the arrest of a person, or so this is not about say armed forces or permanent commission for women. Therefore, this is not a correct answer choice. Therefore, now I have 3 options to choose from. So now my probability of selecting a right answer has gone to 33%. Then I see that, okay, the Puttaswamy case is something to do with Aadhaar and it is not about permanent commission. Therefore, I eliminate this also as an answer choice. Therefore, now the probability has gone up to 50% because I just have to choose between these 2 options. Now, if I'm able to identify that the Indira Sahni case is the case where the Supreme Court had decided about the 50% reservation cap, so then I'll be able to eliminate this also as an answer choice. Therefore, I'll be selecting only 1 out of the 4. Therefore, I have reached 100% probability, or I'll be selecting the right answer. But the more number of options that you are able to eliminate, the probability of your selecting the correct answer keeps on increasing. So this is the elimination strategy that I'm talking about. Even if you read the question and look at the answer choices and it all looks unfamiliar, spend a little time on that. Look at the passage again and see if there is any information available to at least eliminate one of the answer choices, or whether some of the cases look familiar or some of the answer choices look familiar and you are able to eliminate them. So if you are in a situation where you have to take a guess, try to eliminate at least some of the answer options so that the probability keeps increasing. Now, coming to the overview of the important cases for the year of the exam and the immediate preceding year, one of the best sources that I can refer to is go to Livelaw's YouTube channel, and they have a series of videos that they release every week, which is the quotes this week. So this is both in Hindi and in English. So watch this entire playlist, at least for the year of the exam and the immediate preceding year. These are fairly short videos where they cover a lot of important cases that have been decided upon, have been discussed during that particular week. And I find these to be exceptionally good resources to get an overview of all the important cases for the year and the preceding year of the exam. We have no affiliation whatsoever with Livelaw, and this is not a recommendation that is coming because we have any sort of a financial incentive. I'm just telling you this because this is what I find quite useful when it comes to getting an overview of the important cases. Therefore, you can go to Livelaw's YouTube channel and follow these 2 playlists. And what cases should you focus on? This is also important because, as I said, in every year there might be anywhere between say 60 to 75 landmark cases. So which of these cases are going to be important from an exam point of view? And now you should look at landmark cases up to 2 months prior to the exam, because typically the question paper is finalized at least 2 months ahead of the exam. Therefore, cases which maybe just may have been decided even prior to 2 months are cases which might appear in the exam question paper. So look at exam minus 2 months as the deadline up to which you should be familiar with the landmark cases. Now, what are these landmark cases? These are typically cases which deal with national level issues which affect a wider population. right? Because the Supreme Court might have decided on a case which specifically affects the contract between two companies or between say two different parties. But is that decision going to affect the general population as such? Is it going to have a wider impact on the society as such? So that is something that you should look at. So any case which deals with a national level issue is something that is going to be important. And any case which interprets some part of the constitution is also going to be very, very important. And plus any case whatsoever, if it affects a wider set of citizens and not just the parties to the case, then these are cases which are going to be important from an exam point of view. So when you look at the cases that are going to be discussed on the Live Laws weekly series, you can ignore those cases which do not fall into these categories. That is, they don't involve landmark, say they don't involve national level issues, or if there is no interpretation of the constitution as such, or if they are not going to affect parties beyond those who are specifically involved in that case, then you can ignore such cases and you can focus only on those which fit these three criteria. And one extremely important resource to help in your preparation for the upcoming exam is to look at the 2021 paper in detail, and which is also the reason why we have covered the entire question paper in a series of 10 videos on Lawment's YouTube channel. You can go to https://youtube.com/lawment and you can find a playlist which has a series of 10 videos where we have covered the entire 2021 paper in detail, in depth. And that's something that you should watch end to end, because you will get a good sense of how to answer the questions and what kind of questions you can expect and how to eliminate some of the answer choices. So make sure that you watch all of these videos at length. With that, we come to the end of this video. I hope I've been able to at least indirectly address your question in terms of which cases are important for the upcoming CLAT PG examination. Whenever you have time, please drop into lawment.com and you can check out the free demo mock test. And if you like what you see, you can purchase access to the previous question paper and mock test series for the CLAT PG and other LLM entrance exams like the IELTS PG, IIT KGP LLM, DU LLM and BHU LLM. And we also have previous paper and mock test series for the All India Bar Examination and UGC Net Law paper 2. So I will see you again in one of the next videos. Till then, take care, all the best for your preparation and stay safe.